We're Microsoft, we're still in, and we're committed to reducing our carbon emissions by 75% by 2030.
We're HP, we're still in, and we're committed to driving a circular, low-carbon economy.
We are Walmart, we are still in, and we are committed to reducing our Scope 1 and 2 emissions by 18% by 2025 and pulling a gigaton of greenhouse gas emissions out of the atmosphere by 2030.
We're Mars, we're still in, and we've set a bold, science-based target to reduce our emissions by 2/3 by 2050 across our entire value chain.
We are Ingersoll Rand, we are still in, and we are committed through our climate commitment to a 50% reduction in the greenhouse gas footprint of our refrigerants portfolio and a 35% greenhouse gas emissions reduction of our own emissions.
We are still in, and we're going to talk about this really interesting, I have to call it in some ways a phenomenon that started off basically as a meme and morphed into a movement. It started off as a hashtag, and now it's, I think you can say, and we'll hear about this, it's the largest climate movement these days in the United States. So we're going to talk about that with Marty Spitzer from WWF, and Kelly from Ceres, Jim Hanna from Microsoft, and Holly Emerson from Ingersoll Rand. Marty, let's start with you. First of all, for people who are, saw the meme and haven't gotten to the movement, what's going on? What is We Are Still In?
So, thank you, Joel. Great to be here.
I like being up here. I'm going
We Are Still In was basically organized very bottom up to keep the Paris Agreement on track. There's over 2,600 businesses, investors, governors, mayors, universities, faith groups, and tribes that have now come together. It's really the largest coalition.
And what does that mean? What are they doing?
So for the main action was in 2017, it was to stand up and say, we are in. In 2018, it's got to be a year of action. That action is going to be so critical in order to maintain the momentum over the next couple of years to ensure that the Paris Agreement is strengthened as it was always envisioned to be by 2020.
Yeah. Well, let's talk to the two companies that are here and are, as you saw from the video, have senior executives. Holly, Ingersoll Rand is based in Davidson, North Carolina. Not exactly your left coast cool company in the political world. Why did you take a stand on this?
Well, in 2014, we made a bold climate commitment to reduce, as you saw my colleagues say, to reduce the emissions from our products and also from our operations. 60% of our business is from products that use refrigerants, and probably 90% of our business is from products that use products and services that use energy or impact energy use in some way. So our climate commitment was really about driving the industry forward and spurring innovation in this area so that the built environment, the cold chain would have options to reduce their emissions and drive innovation in that area.
But I want to get to the public statement part of this, and I want to ask Jim as well. But first, Holly, why did your company make what is a pretty, whether it's phrased as political or not, the We Are Still In is obviously about the Paris Climate Agreement and the President of the United States announcing they were pulling out of that. Yeah. Why did you choose to raise your hand?
We're a global company. I mean, we have global customers, and just because one country pulls out of Paris doesn't change our commitment. I mean, it's very fundamental. We didn't make the commitment as a Me Too thing, and We Are Still In is not a Me Too statement. It's basically we made this commitment for a specific reason. We have customers globally, and the world is still in. I mean,
Jim, Brad Smith, I forget his title, is he the president? No, Jim. Brad
Smith.
Has been very vocal on a lot of things around not just climate, but healthcare and immigration and some other things. Talk a little bit about how your company has sort of stepped out in that political world more than certainly it ever had in the past that I recall.
Yeah, well, look, I mean, we've been focusing as companies internally for a long time now, getting our own footprint in order. You know, Microsoft has similar agreements and others around carbon neutrality and 100% renewable targets and the like, and really doing what we can to achieve reduction in our own footprint. But, you know, the real leadership position is what you do with your voice externally to take that to scale. You know, whether it's sharing technology, whether it's using the niche of whatever company you have, whether it's, you know, Ingersoll Rand or Cummins Generators, you know, or PR companies, or in our case, a technology company, to use both our voice and the products and services and the people that we have to raise that voice. And that's critical for us. So thanks for mentioning, you know, some of the things we've stepped out on. But, you know, if you look at healthcare, if you look at marriage equality, if you look at, in this case, climate change and others, you know, we have done the due diligence internally to be able to identify that there's real business drivers for us to be out there on those messages from a policy perspective, as Holly mentioned, as a global company as well, but also from an operational perspective and a biz dev perspective. So, you know, I don't ever think it's off taste to say that there are absolute business drivers for the investments we make internally and the voice that we have externally, you know, and the company has done well at doing that. Specifically on the We Are Still In initiative, you know, we see smart climate policy as really a direction to bring us stability into the future. And that's critical for our business growth. It's critical for all your business growth, frankly. And, you know, I encourage you, if you haven't done that due diligence, to understand that your business success is directly linked to the climate, whether it's the health and the health of the people on this planet or the planet itself. So, you know, there is business reasons for doing this. And then, I know our time is short, but finally, you know, the ability of companies have to pivot and not give up and not get discouraged is very exciting to me. And even if we're not seeing particular action within one body of government, you know, that action still continues to move forward internationally. It's moving forward at the state and local government level, where we have the opportunity, you know, now to be active on climate policy in Washington State.
Yeah. So, and Marty said that this 2018 is the year of action. What does that look like?
Yeah, well, thank you, Joel. I just want to say and acknowledge that. Is my mic working okay?
It's, keep going.
I hope I'm still in. I hope you can hear me.
Yeah.
I sat on this stage last year and was a little panicked and depressed.
Wait. Can we get the sound on, or handheld?
We can go back to Jim. He was awesome.
No.
Just lean over and talk to them.
Yeah, can I hand?
All right.
Can I?
Yeah, we could lean in.
Yeah, lean in.
I'm not left or right leaning. It's a post-partisan model.
Yeah.
I could shout.
No, I think we need Rusty, do we have a handheld? All right. We'll
No, I don't want to.
That's as far as it'll go.
Okay. Do you want to call on someone else?
yeah.
I got you.
Here we go.
Oh, perfect.
Shauna to the rescue.
Donna.
So much. I just want to acknowledge it was on the stage last year, and it was difficult post-election.
All right.
What might happen. And I think that what we saw, We Are Still In really harnessed leadership and flipped the narrative from we have a nightmare to we have a dream. And that's all about all of you and all about the businesses. In answer to your question, 2018 is the year of action. We're still building this movement. It's the year of submitting contributions so that when we get to COP24 in Poland, we have a lot more folks, cities, universities, colleges, businesses, investors with targets, so we can continue to meet that Paris goal. It's also about, and I'm happy that Jim alluded to the political realm. I mean, leadership, the great thing about leadership and what we saw is that election cycles come and go. Mm-hmm. Leadership transcends the politics, transcends partisanship. That said, lawmakers need to hear the stories of those signatories. Lawmakers need to hear the stories of all of you here who are making the business case for clean energy and climate change action. So I'll put in a plug. Join Eric Olson and I on Capitol Hill March 21st and 2nd, 20th and 21st, 100% off the record, working with our Republican friends to try to bring this case forward.
Yeah. So Marty, Ann said that a lot of this is leading up to COP, 24, I think, in Katowice, I think, Poland, this December. What's the We Are Still In, or what do you see the business community, and is it just the American business community or the global business community? What are you working towards?
Yeah, so, We Are Still In is really a U.S. phenomenon responding to what happened last year. We are, over the course of this year, Ann alluded to, we need more action and contribution. So as we build out for the year, the goal really will be, for all of you, it's not our goal, right? We're World Wildlife Fund. It's for the businesses in this room and more, cities, all these actors to step up and tell what their contribution is going to be. And we want to take that, many of you, we've heard from a lot of you asking questions. There's a big event in California and San Francisco in September called the Global Climate Action Summit. And that's going to be actually a convening of the world as well. And we want to highlight what you're doing. We want to tell your stories, but not just yours alone, because now we have a chance to do something we've never done before. We've never had a coalition that was multi-sectoral like this. What if, can you imagine what our power can be when we work together? So the California Summit, taking it to the COP in December, will be key milestones for 2018.
Holly and Jim, what do you say to the companies who are watching, listening, who's saying, well, I don't see my company getting into the political realm. I'm afraid of what would happen if we stick our head above the parapet, and this could set us up for being a target. What do you say to the companies that just, say, I'm with you, I'm still in, my company's still in, but we're not ready to be public about that?
Well, it seems like it would be a heavy lift, and it really wasn't for us. We need to demonstrate, in our case, we manufacture products. We need to demonstrate to regulators that there are viable options that can help lower the footprint of the built community and globally. And that's what it's about. It's really not about standing up and becoming a target. It's standing up and becoming an example.
Yeah, but nobody intends to become a target,
right.
That's the often unintended consequence of being outspoken. And I think that's, I hear that that's a fear that, and rationally so, of a lot of companies. And I think getting past that.
But Joel, this is where we as peers can really help each other in that journey, because it is a journey with your government affairs teams. It's a journey with the internal machines within a company to get you to that point where you're ready to say, all right, I'm now ready to take a stand on policy X. But we shouldn't see policy engagement as fear and negative based. It's really opportunistic, and I've talked to Ann before about this term. It's the job of regulation is to provide the guardrails for us to innovate within. And if we approach policy from that perspective, it becomes something we don't have to fear, but really something we use as our ability to scale up, to level the playing field with our competitors, and really to move global issues forward that we are not able to move on our own.
Yeah, and why is time of the essence here? What's going on in a political sense and globally, because you've been saying this is the moment. Why is it the moment?
Well, time was of the essence on June 2nd, the day after the president left the Paris Agreement, because we needed to send a signal to the rest of the world. And in Bonn, many thanks to all of the companies who were there, it was so reassuring to go to see other delegations and have people see our button and say, so the U.S. is still in? So you're still in. So Americans are still believing. That message still has to be sent in a timely way. It's really important that as we go to this important COP for 2018, where we're looking at ratcheting up all of the nationally determined contributions, that the U.S. is sending a signal that we're in, that we're able to do this, that we're all still committed as what are called non-state actors. And it really needs to happen by November of 18, so we have a lot of work to do between now and the California Summit, and then we need to send that signal in November.
And if somebody wants to, if companies want to join, what do you even do? How do you be still in?
WeAreStillIn.com. Thanks to my good friend Marty Spitzer, who came up with the wonderful phrase and bought the URL. You can join the movement there. You can get in touch with either one of us. There's a tremendous number, full menu of activities, some behind the scenes, some out front, some with your own city or state or local university. some having to do with performance, some having to do with restoring the health of our democracy, otherwise known as political action. So we'll give you the full menu if you want to touch base.
And you should know that while WWF and Ceres are up here, there's 27 organizations across all these sectors that are helping to manage the work, but the real work is your work. It's not ours. We're going to try to amplify what you're doing and make it bigger and, the whole even much greater than the sum of its parts.
Yeah, Marty, I was going to give you the last word, but I wanted to keep going. What's the one takeaway you want this audience to leave here today with? What's the key message that, other than join in, leave us with that final message?
Yeah, it's absolutely. I mean, we've been talking about it. It's join in, take action, become part of something bigger than all of us. You're doing it for your own reasons, and when that voice comes together, we're able to tell the whole world and everyone who's listening that we are in. We're going to keep doing this, and we're doing it for all the right reasons.
I think you just summed up the entire profession of sustainable business. Thank you for that. Please join me in thanking our panel.